Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? This is CS with DWP. And um, just get some things ready for the day. Shout out to Workshop. You know, they knocked out something for the Discord I thought was pretty dope. But TenTen put out a video that said, why Geo suck? I haven't seen it yet. I heard like 2 seconds of it, and I was like, oh, I should probably react to this. Plus, I got to farm Mora. Not gonna be a carry stream. I'm just gonna come in, knock some stuff out. And that's kind of like it. But yeah, I wanted to kind of respond to this. I don't know if you guys are gonna be. I'm not gonna have the video up, but I'll go ahead and play the audio so you guys can hear it.
Available now. Big news! Red Lobster's ultimate endless shrimp.
I gotta wait for this ad.
But hurry, it won't last.
Doesn't necessarily mean that every Geo character is bad.
Okay, here we go. So
if you ask any experienced free crafter, they will almost always agree that Geo is the worst element in the game. Now this might be surprising to a lot of you. I mean, after all, for many, it's not obvious why this is the case, and that's why we're gonna address it today. So, why does Geo suck so much? The answer is simple. It is simply because Geo doesn't work with almost anything in the game. And I really mean anything.
Okay, so hold on, let me stop him right there. So that is actually, that's really true. Like, it doesn't work with anything. You can't, the only thing it does is create crystals. And to the point you can't even swirl it. Like, it doesn't do anything. It hits hard, you know what I mean? But that's the scaling of the character. But yeah, that's 100% true. It does nothing. You can't do anything with Geo.
Now,
except break shields, I guess.
Quickly address that. We're talking about the Geo element. It doesn't necessarily mean that every Geo character is bad. For example, as seen in Zhongli, in fact, Zhongli is a rather amazing character because he is capable of providing a massive defensive shield. But that's because his kit is good. Doesn't have anything to do with Geo being good or bad at all. Geo don't really work with anything. Not Anemo, not Pyro, not Cryo, not Hydro, nor Electro.
Yeah, it works with nothing.
Geo have some synergy with other Geo characters, but that's it. When a new character comes out, the first question you ask is, what potential synergy can this character have with other characters? So,
I'm gonna stop right there. So as far as synergy, this is something that I struggle with constantly, is synergy. Like, I don't know where he's gonna go with this, but synergy amongst Geo characters is really a struggle to find anything to work with Geo, because nothing works with Geo. So it's really just a matter of the playstyle working together. Like, for example, like Zhongli, I have a shield, so now I can go balls to the wall with everything, but you could do that with any character, right? Zhongli can freeze like a group, so that works, I guess. You know what I mean? But outside of that, you know, you're really just kind of relying on like your resonance and, you know, stuff like that. Like, yeah, I want to see where he goes with this. How you doing? What's happening, Hifumi? Yeah, I'm just playing TenTen in the background, kind of responding to it. I'm not playing a video because I'm streaming from the PS5. I was gonna do it in Streamlabs, but you know, processor and all, I didn't want to do it, so I'm gonna let him continue. Where's it at?
If you ask any experienced free crafter, they will almost always agree that Geo is the worst element in the game. Now this might be surprising to a lot of you. I mean, after all, for many, it's not obvious why this is the case, and that's why we're gonna address it today. So, why does Geo suck so much? The answer is simple. It is simply because
let me fast forward, sorry.
Because he is capable of providing a massive defensive shield. But that's because
TenTen, yeah.
Doesn't have anything to do with Geo being good or bad at all.
Yeah, this is true, yeah.
Really work with anything. Not Anemo, not Pyro, not Cryo, not Hydro, nor Electro. At best, Geo have some synergy with other Geo characters, but that's it. When a new character comes out, the first question you ask is, what potential synergy can this character have with other characters? For example,
what's that?
The latest release character, Toma.
Okay, so it's TenTen. It's called Why Geo is the Worst Element in Genshin. And as a Geo main, I'm just trying to see if I can relate to what he's saying. So the example he's giving right now is that he's talking about synergy. And for example, Toma, who came out, you know, like I guess he synchronizes. for lack of a better term, with Hu Tao, right? I don't know where he's gonna go with this, but yeah, with Geo, from my experience, you synchronize the play styles. You don't synchronize the element. You synchronize the play styles. But I want to see where he goes with this.
Who is a pyro character? Prior to its release, we can ask a few questions to ourselves to justify if Toma is gonna have high potential or not.
By the way, can you hear that? I don't know if you could hear that. Can you hear that in the background? I'm pulling up the stream right now. Oh, TenTen is a streamer, by the way, or a content creator. He's a theory crafter.
Can Toma work with another Hydro characters like Xingqiu's
Okay.
to do a price damage? Maybe the other way around, like working with a child to provide
Okay, cool.
Hydro infusion for a child. Likewise, can Toma provide Pyro infusion for an Nemo characters, potentially do a infusion with their skills? And this we seen in the cases with Kazu or Sucrose, and is why Toma Hutao is a very, very strong combination. And you can go further with other elements like can Toma work with Cryo or can Toma work with Electro? They don't always happen to work or work out really well, but at least you can ask those questions. But in comparison, Geo character doesn't even have the choice. They don't even get to ask any of those questions.
Yeah, we don't.
If a new Geo character drop, you might ask, can this Geo character pair with another Pyro character to decrystallize? Maybe not,
No,
right?
it's not an
Not to
option.
mention that Geo and Anemo together just straight up do nothing. Like Geo and Anemo together straight up do nothing.
Dude, that is so true. Look, dude, I just said that. Like, when I was looking for ways to buff Geo, I'm like, dude, there has to be more than just Bennett. Bennett works, Mona works, and then I was like, dude, can you even swirl Geo? Because Geo doesn't apply an aura. And I'm like, dude, you can't even swirl. You actually can't swirl Geo. Like, you can't do anything with Geo. Like, you can't do anything with Geo. It's like, bro, like, there's nothing we can do. Like, oh my God. Okay.
And crystallize as a reaction might as well be a negative reaction that harm your team. The shield that crystallize.
Yeah, you can't even crystallize Anemo. Yeah, that's okay. That's,
Generic
yeah.
is not big enough to be called a defensive option. And when you're already running a defensive option like a Zhongli, the crystallized shield like don't matter at all.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Because in Genshin Impact, you cannot stack shield. In case you're not aware, putting a crystallized shield on top of a Zhongli shield will not work.
By the way, what about switching Barber and Ayaka with Xingqiu and Rosaria to get crystallized? To get crystallized? Crystallized is when you create the... I know you know what it is, but switching Barbara and Ayaka with Xingqiu and Rosaria to get crystallized? Are you talking about Shattered? I mean, if you're talking about Shattered, I think that would work extremely good. But crystallized is... Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do to get crystallized. I can go tap somebody. This is how you get crystallized. Yeah, you hit that, and then you just pop, and then it produces a crystal. That's crystallized. But yeah, if you're talking about Shattered, then yeah, I think Xingqiu and Rosaria might work a lot better. It's gonna produce... So, remember that All-Blade guy that I keep talking about? And how he's like really weird about his builds, and his videos are very super niche, but they're niche to the point where it's like, oh, this guy's a professional. He's becoming that guy. That's All-Blade. He did a video explaining Shattered, and I'm like, of course All-Blade would do that. But yeah, he had a kind of busted Shattered situation. I think it was with Sayu. Hey, yo, I'm just here for a short while. No worries, Red. Yeah, this is just a quick little short stream. I'm just farming Mora and reacting to TenTen about Geo. But yeah, where we at?
Both simultaneously take damage at the same time. So this is that the only thing that crystallize do is take away your elemental gauges away from your other character, which basically means it actively grieve your reaction. People laugh at
It
Electro all
does,
the
yeah.
time, but
Hold on, let me
you
speak on
know
that.
stuff.
So, yeah, hold on, wait a minute. So, that's a huge one. So, oh my God, man, he's. All right, so what Geo does is, let's say you have Albedo or Zhongli out, right? And I'm hitting this guy with ice and I want to freeze him. This is what happens. I'll do that and I'll go to freeze him, but it breaks my freeze, right? So it interrupts whatever reactions you have active. Dude, it's such a bad element. I never thought about all this. Oh my God, bro. I mean, it's funny because I know it. Like, I know it, but it's bad. It's hard to listen to because it's super true. Shattered is actually pretty good, but not comfortable to create like Vaporize. Yeah, Vaporize is a lot easier because Shattered takes like 3 layers. It's like 3 layers to get that to happen. Watch TenTen's vid. I don't like him, but he's on point.
Electro
Yeah,
reaction
he's
is actually
TenTen's a meta slave. That's basically it. But he's a good. I think he's a good guy. Like I don't mind him. I just have to go into it knowing that he is like by the books. You know what I mean? So it's like looking at it from that
actively
perspective.
being
It's like
used.
it's not.
For
It's like
example,
all right.
Electro and Crowd will give you superconduct,
Yeah,
which
superconduct.
is
Oh, that's
often
what it
used
is.
in the new.
Superconduct makes it buffs your physical damage as well. Yeah, I noticed that with Xingqiu, when I want to vape, Zhongli, yeah, he neutralizes the water off it. Yeah, yeah, it's like, wow. What's going on, Mabel? How you doing?
The team to reduce the physical defense of the enemy. Electro plus Hydro together give you
Okay.
electric charge, which is currently being used in Taser Synchros to apply a Nemo on top of that and do massive amount of swirl damage. And finally, you have of course Electro plus Pyro for Overload, which is currently
Okay.
being seen in the Raiden national team. You can see that Electro reaction actually actively contributes to some way in the meta team, while Geo reaction does not. And it's simply because Geo just doesn't do anything with other elements.
Okay.
When a fusion character come out, the chances of them working together is like almost 0, unless either that
Yeah.
character is Geo, or they have such a amazing kit that they can work regardless.
Oh, the pain, Tintin, the pain. Ah, the pain. And these are the thoughts that go through my mind when a new Geo character comes out. These are real, like, issues that I goes through. Like, I love Geo, but these things he's saying, all this goes through my head. Like when you run Geo, it's like you kind of just are running Geo. Like it's its own thing. It will remove the possibility to do reactions off enemies. There's a lot. Trying to level up your characters to kill the Abyss Heralded. Let me know if you have any questions on killing those guys. It's not a trick, but there's something with shields. It has to do with shields. It's not really a trick, but just I want to make sure you fully understand because shields there's a whole system to that. Yeah, fair. I disagree with his methods often, but he's hitting the nail on the head here. He so is.
Of elemental synergy.
Oh man, hold on. Let's back that up one time.
Chances of them working together is like almost 0, unless either that
Ah, that hurts. It hurts. Like Geo characters work with nobody unless their kit explicitly makes them work with people. Like Zhongli, his shield works with everybody. Okay, Albedo, his little thing. You need an ice character for both heralds. Yes, ice works really good for them. Like if you're fighting, ice works really good for them. Period. There's multiple ways, but I just wanted to make sure she understood like DPS doesn't matter. Like your DPS, like you can go in there with a level 1 Ayaka and just do charge attacks all day. And that'll kill their shield as fast as a high DPS character. You just need to hit their shield a lot. That's all it is. Like if they come out with a pyro one, you could just sit here and you could just do this all day with like Barbara, and the shield will go away just as fast. Because it's on a gauge unit. And by the way, just a quick explanation on that. So the reason why you can remove shields so much faster with water is well, Pyro particularly. Pyro shields with water so fast is because Hydro has a higher gauge number. It has a higher point in the system of like whatever that gauge theory is. Like if I do this, it applies 2 points of Hydro. Whereas if I do like this, it applies like 0.6 of Electro. Or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. I mean, Zhao and Geo, elemental reactions. Never heard of it. Can Zhao eat that? No. Yeah. Geo and Animo don't work. There's nothing there, and that hurts. So Sucrose and Ningguang don't work. It hurts my heart. And knowing that pulling a Geo character is a matter of like pulling a new character from what Dynasty Warriors or something is like, yeah, like I'm just pulling another Dynasty Warrior character. Like they don't interact with anything. If anything, they remove reactions, and that hurts. Oh, I only have a weak Kea and can't get his power good. That's why I'm trying to get a good character. Oh yeah, no worries. So Kea is actually good. You do have to invest in them. But yeah, if you end up getting Ganyu, I think that'd be good. Let's continue with this TenTen situation.
Character is Geo.
Yeah, power works too.
Amazing kit that they can work regardless of elemental synergies. Let's quickly dive into an example. Noelle.
Okay.
Noelle was a Geo character that was released in the very, very beginning of the game and was given to every single player for free. But after an entire year, how many newly released characters have real synergy with Noelle? If we go from the...
Bro, nobody, man. Nobody synergizes with Noelle. She is there for a shield. She is like the only... Look, I hate Claymores. And it's taking Ito for me to want to do Claymores. There is only one character with a Claymore that I care about, and that's Noelle. And that's because she's Geo. Because I like Geo. It's a neutral element. But oh my God, no one works with Noelle. Nobody. Like let me put it this way. Like when early times when I was playing with Xiangling and we all played with Kea in the early game, and you know, you might pull Beto soon or something or whatever, and you got fire and ice and electricity and stuff happening around you. Noelle has nothing to do with that. And if anything, she's removing elements off of the enemies. She hits hard, but there's literally no synergy there. Like the synergy is all playstyle, and that's what's kind of tough. And with Geo characters specifically, it's really just a matter of that playstyle, strategizing that playstyle. And I think it's key for MiHoYo when they're designing if they're not going to do anything with the Geo element, like they have to design a Geo character with a very, very expensive kit. That's why I'm a little saddened by Goro. Now, I know the Geo buff and all of that, that's cool, but what they're doing is they're putting Geo in this box where it kind of only exists by itself. And if you run into a situation, you know, like what are those little enemies? The little floating, the specters, right? The Geo specters. If they have a spiral abyss with Geo specters, you're done. And we had that. Like, I was done on that spiral. There was nothing I could... there was something I could do because I have other characters, but in Geo, there was, like, nothing I could do. It's like, man, like, it's all or nothing with Geo. So, let me catch up with these comments. Power works too on both. Yeah. I wonder if Dendro would do anything Geo. I don't. I mean, I know you could crystallize Dendro, but that's kind of about it. In-game Kea is surprisingly a good character. Yes. And that's kind of what you said exactly what I was trying to say, Red K. You know what I mean? But he needs care and love. Yep. That is how that works. So it's kind of like Ningguang. So you know how Ningguang, she takes a lot of attention and a lot of things to make her like wow. Whereas somebody like Zhongli, you don't need to do all the things. He just kind of works for what he's good for. Same thing with Noelle. Noelle is very similar. Kea, actually, in my opinion, Kea might even take... You don't have to triple crown Kea for him to be good. You know what I mean? You put a little effort into his burst, get him a good sword, level up the sword, Make sure his talents are pretty good. If you got constellations, great. Make sure he has a good artifact set. I don't have Kea, but if you invest in Kea, he's not a bad character. Like, and I've had this conversation a few times. He only has a 7 second downtime on his burst, which actually isn't really that. It's really not that bad. Like, he's a really good character, and if you're bouncing between him, Xiangling, and Beidou, like, you can get some impressive results out of that. But you have to invest in Kea. And if you're like whales have C, you guys need to see a C6 Kea, a C6 triple crown. You need to see a Kea main, like my Ningguang C6 triple crown. Y'all should see that Kea. That Kea be bussing. He be killing on the field.
This list we only find.
I mean, he's not no Ganyu, but yeah.
Really work with Noel, who both are Geo. Now, of course, there is also the Electro MC who can solve
let me know.
Elytra energy recharge issues, but that's pretty much it. Taking a look.
Okay, so glad he said that. Yes, Noel has energy recharge issues. At least somebody else knows, and somebody else said it. I thought I was alone on that. What's going on, Kuzan? How you doing? Oh, you did say hi. I'm so sorry, man.
And another character who is also available at the beginning of the game and is given to everyone for free, Xiangling. You notice that when going through this.
Okay, I hope he doesn't talk about Xiangling. This is
post-release characters. There are a fair amount that work well with Xiangling. For example, starting from the very top and Cryo, we have Rosario and Ganyu, who can use Xiangling to do reverse melt damage. You also have, of course, the Hydro character, for example, Child, or you can even argue with Kokoi, where they can provide Hydro infusion for Xiangling to do vaporize damage. And of course, we also have Raiden Shogun, who can use Xiangling in her Raiden national team, who is currently a very, very strong team, and it does overload damage in that team by using Raiden Electro Infusion and Xiangling Power Infusion, as we described before. And of course, every Anemo character except Xiao could work really well with Xiangling. That is Sayu, Kazuha.
Xiao works with Xiangling. What are you talking about?
These characters can utilize the Pyro Infusion and do the BB Shred, or some kind of Pyro Infusion.
Okay.
Xiangling. Not just doesn't mean that other non-Geo character is never gonna work with Noel. You could argue that character like Xingqiu's, Beidou, or even Bennett can work well with Noel, but that's not because of their elemental synergies. That's just because
of mechanics.
Good, you can practically.
Well, that's more like mechanics. That's not really, like he said, that's not really elemental synergy. That's more like game mechanics. I guess crystallize, but that's kind of where it kind of ends, and you have to put elemental mastery on a Geo character to get that shield to be anything competent, which is kind of like Noelle mains know that she has energy issues. I thought everyone knows that. I'm so glad everyone knows that. Somehow I got my old PS4 account and I have Raiden. You have Raiden on that account? Man, apparently I played on PS4 and don't remember. Well, either you're a savant and you don't realize it or something, or I don't know. Well, congratulations. I'll say it like that. You have the Raiden Shogun. What should I have for Gene? Depends on how you want to build Gene. Do you want a DPS Gene, a balanced Gene, or do you want a healer Gene? There's like 4 different genes, technically. There's an animal DPS / reactionary gene. There's a physical DPS gene or all around DPS gene. Like it depends. If you want a healer gene, you run two attack artifacts and healing bonus with the four-piece beloved maiden's beloved. If you want if you want a DPS gene, you can run Pale Flame. If you want physical DPS, you run Pale Flame and what is it called? Bloodstain. The one that has a good power to kill bosses. There's 2 different ones. So if you're going for reactions, you run the VV set, and you want to run attack timepiece and a animal goblet. You build her like you build any other elemental. It's like any other elemental build, just with the VV set. If you want the physical build, which is not Eula but hits about as hard, you would run. You can run either 4-piece gladiator, or the one I would personally recommend would be 2-piece bloodstain and 2-piece Pale Flame. As the ones I would recommend. You could run a 4-piece Pale Flame, but you're gonna have to keep your like skill up, and you're only getting an extra 18%. Whereas you can get an extra 25% by just running this 2-piece alongside that one, and it's permanent. And then you would run a physical damage goblet, and your physical damage is going to be ridiculous, ridiculous. Plug and play gladiator. Otherwise, 2-piece pale flame, 2-piece. That's what I would run. At least for killing bosses. You're not gonna heal for nothing though. Your heals are basically not gonna exist. You can have a burst heal, but they're not gonna be like fantastic. But yeah, Jean can do everything. You just have to build her good. Yeah, the weapon you're gonna probably hear a lot for Jean is like one of 2 weapons. You're gonna hear about the Rancor is really good because of physical damage, and you're gonna hear people say the Flute because it's gonna help you with her passives. For 5 stars, yeah, the Aquila Favonia is really good. Those are all really good weapons. It just totally depends on how you build your Jean. I have a hybrid build. Mine is a hybrid build. That's all mine is. So I run 4-piece Beloved's Maiden, and then I run that, and then I just need to get a healing bonus right there, but attack is fine. And then I got a terrible crit ratio, but that's why I got this on. So mine is like this weird, but the primary function of this Jean is a healer, and then secondary to that, she can DPS. But the DPS is nowhere near as strong as it could be. And for DPS, you want to rank these 2 up. This one is good, but these 2 are your bread and butter, because this skill only has a 6-second cooldown, and it hits as hard as Ningguang's if you invest in it. So, sorry, I don't want to. Yeah, I know. I felt like I started to tuck your ear off. My Jean has a 4 VB set and still heals the truckload. I recommend the Inazuma craftable sword. And oh yeah, that is a good one for Jean. Yeah, you're talking about this one. Yeah, I haven't tried this on Jean. That one, yeah. If you have that one, give that one a shot. But yeah, so if you want the killer, you could do the reactionary Jean with the VV, or you could do the physical build with the pale flame and all that. You just got to decide which one you want to do. They both kill bosses, just differently. One does reactions, which is the stronger one, the VV set. One just makes her a monster as far as physical damage. Like her charge attacks, if I'm not mistaken, I think are like, they can. I know one person whose charge attacks with Jean hit for 24,000, but if I'm not mistaken, it can go higher. It just depends on how you build her. And that's with like the Jade Cut. That's where you're getting into like Jade Cutter, Mist Splitter territory. That sword is perfect for Jean. Almost 100% burst uptime. Nice. Yeah, and she does regenerate a lot of energy on her own. Like a lot. So yeah. And it has that energy passive, so I know the best Jean player, bro. Hey, then yeah, whatever that dude is using. Well, hey, as long as he can heal passively and off a burst, and he's still putting up crazy numbers, then go for it. Do that. I would do that. What's he run, by the way? I'm gonna play this video while that's coming through. Level 30, and I can't get 5-star artifacts. Oh, if you can't get, oh, okay, so you're not there yet. So, and you're level 30, right? So you're in the beat. So you're in like early game. So if you're in really early game, if I can remember correctly, there's 2 sets that you can use. There is that one. So you would do 2 resolution of Joiner or whatever, and then you could do the charge attack crit rate too. Her charge attack does get kind of crazy, but you would run that. That helps you with your heals and your damage, and then you could probably do like 2-piece Berserker or something like that. But I thought there was another one. I think it's Marshall. Braveheart. Yeah, you just want to stack his. But long story short, as far as her kit, like if you want to make a DPS Jean, I don't know actually what it uses. We can investigate. So if you look at her kit, her heals are based on attack, as you already know, right? But then as far as no Berserker for crit rate, but as far as her DPS, like a lot of her damage is going to come from this and this. So you can either run an animal goblet or a physical damage goblet, or you can run an attack goblet and get the best of both worlds. But at the end of the day, it's going to take a really high investment. And because you're early game and you're not looking at those type of artifacts, it'd probably be a little bit more wise to just go flat attack across the board because your crits are not going to be as like abundant as say when you start to get 5-star artifacts. Because you can't just fish for crit rate rolls, and even still the rolls aren't going to be high enough to put you past 50%, stuff like that, and really high crit damage and all of that. So I think for a good baseline in early game is just to focus on like maybe martial artist or the sojourner and the other one with base attack, and just focus on getting your base attack as high as possible, and every chance you get rank up your feather, because that's going to be the bulk of your damage early game is going to be from that. And then later down the road, maybe like 40, 45, when gladiators start dropping out the wazoo, at that point, then you could start, okay, maybe I should start focusing on like a crit rate artifact or a crit damage artifact, or you can start getting into the world of crit and focusing on, balancing your main stats and substats. And then once you hit AR-45, that's when you get into your set bonuses. I wouldn't worry about set bonuses until you're AR-45. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, AR-30. I didn't know you were AR-30. But does that help? Because you should be able to kill bosses with just that. You'll be able to heal yourself, and you'll have so much attack that you should be able to kill a boss without crit. Dark Souls 3, I do not. I don't play Dark Souls at all.
Maybe it was to do with Bennett being. Maybe it was.
The last any type of game like that I played was Devil May Cry 3, and that is obviously not Dark Souls. Martial Artist? Yeah, Martial Artist is the attack one, I think, right?
Exception to Hu Tao, but you can even argue that Bennett worked with Hu Tao. The only cases that Bennett doesn't work is...
Oh, he's talking about Bennett. So, yeah, so Bennett and Mona, as far as the, characters' abilities, buffing Geo, those are the only two characters that I'm aware of that buff Geo, but I hope he says something new. You said you gave Jean the Sword of Dissension. That's good for now because you get that base attack to help you with, the additional attack. That's gonna. Okay, so this is just for your knowledge, right? So attack versus a bonus element. The bonus element usually is much stronger, but you sacrifice damage in a different area, right? So by running this weapon, it's not bad because it's going to give you damage across your normals, your charge attack, your skill, and your burst, right? And of course, it's adding to your healing capabilities. So by all means, especially now, like that's not a bad decision to run on your Jean, right? Now, down the road, once you play Jean long enough and you start to invest your talents into Jean, and first off, congratulations on Jean. I don't know why people don't like Jean. I love Jean. First off, congratulations on Jean. But once you start to fill out how you're playing Jean and what you're comfortable doing, and you're noticing you're hitting your skill all the time, so on and so forth, you want to start playing with her burst, and you're doing Bennett's thing or Chong Yun's thing, where you got this weird thing going on with Chong Yun or whatever your play style is. At that point, you can start to veer your investment to lean towards more towards what you're using most in her kit. Like I'm using her normals 99% of the time. So okay, we'll go with a physical build. I'm using her burst and her skill like 99% of the time. Okay, we'll go Animo. Well, I'm using all of it all the time. Okay, we'll run attack. You know what I'm saying? And then you just base your weapon. At that point, your weapon and your circlet are the last thing that you kind of focus on in your build, because that's where you balance your crit ratio. So, you won't have crit on like a weapon, right? Like if I did this, then I would put like a crit rate circlet, because with 25% crit rate, I'm never going to see that 100% damage. So I would put a crit rate circlet, so at least I can see that. You know what I mean? But that's not till like later. Jean was the first character I wanted. It took me a year to finally get her. Yeah, I don't know why people don't like Jean. Jean's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. I just bunny hopped like 200 meters. What? That's not possible, but okay. Took me to fucking lady made me wait, but I forgive her. Yeah, man, it's crazy because every time I fail Every time I failed a pull, technically failed, I guess, or lost or whatever, standard better or otherwise. It's funny because I'm like, I hope I don't get Gene. But every time I get Gene, I'm kind of like, I kind of like, I don't mind that. Like, I get a Gene, like the 2 times I got her constellation, I was like, I don't know if I like Gene. I really like Gene. Like, she's level 90. You know what I mean? She's level 7. Like, I do want to invest in her more at some point, Like, she's not bad. Dude, C2 is kind of, that constellation right there is kind of cool, man. Like, I like Jean. I really like Jean. I really like Jean. She hits really hard, but I needed a better healer for the Spiral Abyss, so I invested in Jean. And Jean can really heal if you care about it. You know what I mean? You can still Bunny Hoo after, Bunny Hop after your stamina. Oh, you mean that? I thought you meant in real life. After your stamina is depleted, but I keep the same momentum is good for early game. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I thought you were talking about really real life. I was thinking like, what? You Bunny Hop? What?
Actually. So it has nothing
that's
to
crazy.
do with Bennett being good with Geo characters. It's just
It's just Bennett.
Good.
Yeah, it's Bennett being good.
Absolutely nothing to do with the Geo element.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's hard to say. Perhaps. The thing is, since Geo...
He said hell no.
The only saving grace for Geo characters is that individual characters have to have a very good kit to make up for the lack of an element. Which basically means that they need to have a very, very big number or some kind of really good stuff in other way.
Yeah.
And that's literally it.
Yeah,
Let's quickly take a look
at right there. Right there. That is the Geo issue. And to be fair, there is some slight level of compensation in most of their kits for the most part, where their stats are usually on the higher end. Ningguang's charge attack not so much, but that's because her Star Jade mechanic makes up for it. But yeah, like her skill damage is really high. This thing is cracked. Like, this thing is cracked. C0 is kind of cracked. Well, if you crown it. But, yeah. But that's kind of Geo characters. Their base numbers are usually on the higher end. And I understand why, and that's because they can't do reactions. But with Geo characters, you kind of are just relying on them and them alone. There's no reactions you can do. There's no buffs you can do. There's no special magic wonton soup you could put together to magically do the Bennett reaction, swirl, ice, sucrose. You can't do that with Geo. So Geo characters who kill are just killing. And don't get me wrong, everybody can use like a Bennett and a Mona and a sucrose, right? Like we all know the Bennett, Mona, and sucrose. But Geo has Animo completely removed. Kazuha doesn't work on Geo. Venti doesn't work on Geo. You know what I mean? So it's just you just have to get Geo characters to hit hard. You just have to know how to make them hit hard. You know what I mean? And if you can make a character hit hard by themselves, then but that's kind of Geo. Other than that, if you're like a reactionary player, Geo might not be the element for you, because with reactions, the bulk of your damage most of the time is probably going to come from a reaction. You know what I mean? And you're going to invest into that. But Geo, there are no reactions. As far as damage, there's no damage reactions. There's Crystallize, but Crystallize just gives you a shield. Increases the damage absorption. Damage absorption. Power of shields created through Crystallize. That's it. And Shattered isn't even a Geo thing. It can be, but it's not inherently Geo. It's just you take a frozen enemy and you hit them with Geo or physical damage, and it causes Shattered. But you still need ice and water to get that effect. You know what I'm saying? And it only scales with Elemental Mastery. So there's like no reason to do that. because you're taking away permafreeze. Why would you want permafreeze? Why would you want the enemy to not be frozen to get like 3,000 damage or something? It's just a small element shields. Crystallize is just baby shields. It does depend on the character, but it crystallizes just super weak shields. Now on somebody like Albedo, if you give him some elemental mastery, you can actually get some relatively powerful shields off Albedo, but that's Albedo. You know, you pop in his burst constantly, you're just getting extra 125 elemental mastery for no reason. Like that's Albedo though. And like he's like the only one. And with Geo characters, I'm going to safely say with 100% chance, nobody's putting elemental mastery on their Geo character on purpose. No one does that. Should they? I don't know. But will they? No. Probably not. Especially if you're going to run an all Geo team, elemental mastery actually does nothing because you're not applying an element to the enemy to be able to crystallize. So there's literally no reason to run elemental mastery on a Geo squad, right? So Geo is a really self-contained element, and that's, as a Geo main, that's where we come from. So to be honest, I do take pride in my Geo characters because I have to do it on my lonesome, and I do choose to play Geo though, and I understand the shortcomings of Geo, right? But it is more fun for me. For me, it's more fun because then I could just play the game. I don't have to babysit reactions, but that comes at a cost. You know what I mean? And I think on some level it would be nice to be able to do some type of damage related reaction somewhere, but it's not the case with Geo, and I think that's where he's going to do reactions. So there's nothing you can get from it outside of just over investing into a Geo character, and that's kind of just the reality of it. You know what I mean? But it has the potential to be such a great element. Let me finish this video.
Example,
like,
who is a Anemo
he making me not want to pull Ito. Like, hold on.
Xiao being Anemo or not doesn't really matter. Xiao doesn't really interact with his Anemo component in any way at all.
What?
So, to be honest, he might as well not have an element. Or he could even be a Geo character, and it wouldn't matter a single bit. Xiao would pretty much be able to do the same thing that he does right now, with the exception that you need to bring new battery, like for example, Geo MC.
I don't know if that's true with Zhao 100%. I mean, what happens if you pop like a sticky burst? Like if you do something like this and then you run Zhao and you're like doing Zhao things, aren't you swirling the water with the VV set, making the enemy more? And if you pop this and like Xingqiu and Beidou and all that, aren't you? I don't know. Ito doesn't imply because he hits regardless of reactions. Oh, it doesn't apply. No, I know he hits hard regardless of reactions, but that's Geo characters. That was kind of my point. Like they have to hit hard. Like when I did my spreadsheet on Albedo and I saw the numbers he put up, I'm like, this is not normal. I think it was something like 400,000 off like one cast that it has the potential of hitting, or it was some number that was like too high. Like that doesn't sound right. And then I play Albedo and I start seeing Albedos out there and I'm like, oh, well, I guess it is because they're hitting like 14,000 and you only need 10 of those to be at 140,000. You know what I mean? So I guess it's possible. But Geo characters just they have to hit hard in the kit in order to be competent. You know, I'm not really on a focused element main because I've been using a lot of element reactions for damage compositions that I played around with too much, but now, since of my account usage, I run Zhao, Permafreeze, and Abyss with Barber's Healing Ring. Super good for Cecin Fatui. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if I agree with his thing about Zhao. Like, now you could run characters with Zhao. Like, I don't know if maybe in the speed run C6 community or whatever those guys be doing with the R5s and the this, that, and all the other things. Like, but they can run Zhao with anybody, and the damage that they're probably getting off their Zhao is probably way higher than what they're getting off other characters. So they don't see it as reasonable. But I wouldn't go so far as to say he does not work with other characters. Like, he might as well be Geo. If he was Geo, his base would be higher. His base would be like 15-20% higher. Maybe 15 or even 10%. It'd be like 10-15% higher. And then he just would do Crystallize. That would be Zhao, I would imagine. The damage showcases on him were even without Bennett and Zhongli. Yeah, the ones I'm seeing, if you're talking about Zhao. Oh, you're talking about with what's the name? Ito. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They work with Bennett, but you can't do reactions. Like, there's no reason to try to show the synergy between a Geo character and somebody else. It's a Geo character to Geo character. And really the only one that determines a Geo synergy, that creates the Geo synergy, is this guy. And it's through this thing. There's your Geo synergy. That's about where it ends. Outside of that, there's no synergy, really. Outside, I mean, you got Resonance and then Goro, I guess, now. You know. I mean, I guess, I don't know. If you play Geo or any character, whenever you hit an elemental with Geo, example, Noel's Burst, if you hit an enemy with Pyro on the Geo Burst, you get a Pyro Crystallized Shield. But Geo can't be an aura. That's kind of the issue. Geo, because it's first off, it's transformative, so it's always the trigger. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, Geo, you can't make a Geo. If you can make a Geo aura, you could swirl it, but you can't swirl it because you can't make it an aura. You'll see the Geo item above their head, but that's second in line because it's the trigger. So they already have Pyro on them. You hit them with Geo, it collapses, shows a Geo symbol, produces a crystal, and then you might hit them with Pyro again in the interim, but you can't apply Geo first. Geo doesn't apply to enemies. Geo can only react to an element to create a crystal, which is kind of the issue. Like, if I could apply Geo and then hit with Pyro and get some kind of buffed Pyro damage or buffed Geo reaction, like burnt dust or something, that would be dope. Oh, if the enemy is infused with Pyro? Yeah, I mean, but that means they have a... No, you're good. Yeah, if they already have a element applied to them, you know, like a slime or something. Yeah, you know, yeah, but that's just Geo reacting to it. You know, but if I don't know, I don't know if it's bad. It's just I'm just kind of reacting to his video, like seeing if I can confirm or deny. But yeah, so far he's right. I don't know about the Zhao thing because I don't have Zhao, I don't play Zhao, but I guess.
To Xiao and argue that Noel have very similar AoE level as Xiao. You know, Noel have really good AoE, and Xiao also have really good AoE. But what's the main difference between Noel and Xiao? Well, aside from the fact that Noel have more energy issues.
I don't know about that one now, TenTen. Okay, I love you, bro, but I don't know if I'd be out here comparing Noel to Zhao, bro. Like, all right, now, hold on now. Yeah, I meant that I'm just bad at explaining. No, you're good, AJ Phoenix. I think I understood what you were saying. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
Xiao.
But yeah, TenTen. Yeah, I don't know about this one now.
And Xiao is simply because Noel doesn't hit hard enough. It's literally it. Noel just doesn't generate big enough number in comparison to Xiao. Xiao do big number, and therefore Xiao is good. Noel doesn't do big number, therefore Noel is not so good.
Well, she's a 4-star.
So, because the only thing that Geo can bring to the table is how hard they can hit. Unless they can hit so hard to overcome the potential loss of a synergy with another element, Geo as a element itself, it's just honestly not gonna be very good. So if the
Yeah.
only way for Geo character to be good is that they have to hit so hard that they have big enough number, will this ever happen? Well, who knows? Maybe in the future, maybe there will be
Maybe
a Geo
Ito
character
might
that
be
hits
the
so
guy.
hard
We
that
might
he's
not
gonna
be
be
seeing
viable.
all the numbers
But
at
to be
one
honest,
time,
from a game design perspective,
but
I don't think so. If a Geo character were to hit so hard as other element, I think that they would be borderline broken.
I mean, I guess. I guess, yeah. Otherwise, for the most part, Geo hits hard with Resonance itself. Yeah, it does hit really hard with the Resonance itself. And God forbid you got Zhongli on your team. Like, yeah, Geo does hit hard, but that's their base kit numbers. Like, it's not the element that hits hard. It's their percentages and their talents. These numbers are buffed. So Geo in itself doesn't hit hard. The character's base numbers hit hard because they have to compensate for a reaction. So I think the only beef that I have, if I was even to take, because I don't feel like it's a problem. I didn't feel like it was a problem up until this last Spiral Abyss, like last two Spiral Abyss releases. Yeah, but even those two, you got probably running, you got to probably run like the Staff of Homa and the Jade Cutter for that team to do the Spiral Abyss like that. I mean, like that, yeah. You know, and I tried it with Bennett and Mona, and it's like, yeah, nah. I have to run Ningguang, Bennett, and Mona to get the Magu Kinki down. Like, super fast. Like, he doesn't just drop with Geo. You have to just hit really hard. And I think if I'm going to have a beef with Genshin Impact over Geo, that would be my beef. And the beef is that, for me, this is my personal opinion. I feel like it's unfair for Geo to at least not get something out of a reaction. For Vaporize and Melt to hit in the millions, and Geo has to wait until we get the whatever that thing was, and you have to dump every single solitary one of your resources into your burst just to hit a million in that domain. But then you have Pyro hitting for 3 million in the domain. Like, I feel like that's a little unfair. Like, can we at least get some kind of olive branch in the exponentiality of things? You know what I mean? I feel like that would be my only grievance, is that Geos hit hard at base, but their in-game multipliers are way too small. And if they're going to keep scaling the game at the pace that they're scaling it at, Geo is ultimately going to be left in the dust, which I don't mind it. You're just going to be excluding Geo mains out of, let's say, the Spiral Abyss, for example. And if there's any other places that are going to scale like that, like the Samurais and Inazuma, you know what I mean? Geo's probably not going to be, you know, it's not going to be effective at all unless they do some type of reaction to it. Like they're going to have to help with Geo to scale with the ways that other elements scale. It doesn't get nowhere near as high, but it at least somewhere up there. Like, I'll give just my only example is like if somebody, for example, is running, I don't know, I'm gonna use Hu Tao for example because she's the one with the big burst number, right? If you do a vaporize on her and you hit 600,000-700,000 off a burst, then there should be a way to get him to hit at least 400,000 off his burst without having to get a C6. You know what I'm saying? That's my only argument. That would be my only argument. And struggling to get him to hit 140,000, let alone 160 or 70,000 at C0. When there's C0s out there for Hu Tao who can, and I'm not talking, I mean, let's take Hifumi for example. I think Hifumi could hit like, what are you at, like 400,000 or 500,000 right now on Vaporize? Like or Melt, right? For that to be possible with Pyro and Hydro, and Geo is struggling to get that high, like struggling to get even a quarter of that amount of damage. Like, I feel like that's my grievance with Geo. But outside of that, I mean, Geo, I like Geo personally. I don't have to worry about reactions. It just, when it comes to that content where the HP pools are that high, it would be nice to have a way for Geo to achieve that. You know what I mean? 630 meld. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you're doing like 630 melds, but a Zhongli C0 is barely scratching the surface of like 100,000 with a crown on him. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not running a Geo artifact. You know what I mean? But even when testing it, like it's not scratching. So like Geo does need help in that department. As far as individual characters, like this character versus a individual Hu Tao versus an individual Ayaka versus like all that's balanced out, I think fine. You know, all the Geos feel a little bit stronger than all the other elements. But when you factor in the reactions, that's where everything goes left. Everything goes way left. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my only thing. Let me see. I played Zhongli. Let me catch up with these comments. Geo hits hard with the resonance. Yeah, having Zhongli without Beto hits hard. Yeah, I played Zhongli before Zhongli buff and the Geo resonance. Oh my god, it was a joke. Yeah. The joke was that Zhongli was so bad he had to lift the entire element to sell. Yeah, he kind of did. They had to change Geo just to sell him. Like, and they sold him. And here's the thing about Zhongli, though. You remember the story. He actually was way stronger than he is now. And they had to nerf him. But they nerfed him way too hard. Like, this was supposed to happen every 1 second, not 2 seconds. That was going to happen every 1 second. And then his normals were complete booty cheeks. But they invested all this energy in like the animation. It was supposed to be like a Shogun release. Like he had all this flair to him and all that. And when he came out, it was like a glorified 4-star character, but he's got a cool shield. You know what I mean? And nobody was happy with their purchase. Like nobody. And I was even a little shocked when I heard Zhongli in the beta was like busted. Like Damon Kim was talking about it a little bit. He was like, nah, I'm telling you guys, Zhongli's kind of cracked. He's kind of busted. And I guess in the beta, he was like bust, like legit. He was what we thought he was going to be. Right? All the hype and all the thing, we thought he was going to be like, oh, drop a meteor and the meteor is going to do the damage that it looks like it's going to do. Like, oh, this at, you know, talent level 6 or 7 is probably going to hit for 70, 80,000. Like it was supposed to be like that, you know. And then Twitter did this. Yeah, Twitter did his thing. Twitter did do his thing on Zhongli. That Twitter happened, and now we have this Zhongli. And even this Zhongli is to my understanding, is still weaker than the beta Zhongli. Like this Zhongli is still weaker than beta Zhongli. But I think that's for all of them, because beta Ayaka was C2 at C0. Like C0 Ayaka. I could be wrong about all this because I don't play on a test server. But the way it was explained to me is C2, you know this constellation right here? This one that gives her the 2 circles, that was at C0. And her numbers on her burst were bigger, but it didn't stop on the enemy. It continued to go past the enemy. So it had to be super strong. But what they did was they pulled those 2 circles off, made it a constellation, and they lowered the damage just a little bit, but they made it sit on the enemy. So instead of getting 3-4 hits, because that was the argument, right? If you stand back from the enemy and pop her burst, at base, it was hitting for like 500-600 damage, hitting the enemy 3 times. It would go 1, 2, 3, and you're hitting like 600. You're doing like 600% damage, just pop, 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 and then it would go into the distance. But those 3 hits at talent level 1 was like 600 damage. So it's like, oh my god, that's super busted. But they changed it. They lowered the percentage on I think it was the bloom damage. They lowered that percentage from like, I gotta pull it up again. But they lowered that, and they made it sit on the enemy if it makes contact. You know, so technically it got like way better, because instead of hitting 3 times, it now hits like 10 times. But the hit is weaker, but it hits like 10, 12 times or whatever. So I don't know. All right, let's wrap this video up, man. This is hard. This is hard, y'all. But it's okay. Geo will live. I believe Geo will live.
Do the same damage as Shout. I think Noel will be a really, really broken character.
Okay.
The reason is because Geo is supposed to be an element that fulfills the tank or defensive role in Genshin.
I know.
And And if they can hit as hard as other characters while simultaneously being so tanky that they're unkillable, why ever bother to play other characters? You know, you just play a character that does so much damage but unkillable at the same time, and you'll just be able to smash through every single thing. So that would be too broken.
I like how he had Bennett's face floating over the screen while he was explaining that. I like how he did that. Like that was funny. Also, the leyline overflow and weekly reset just happened on the Asia server recently, so I'm gonna go back and go back grinding on that account. Nice. And I feel really stupid because I just grinded all that Mora when I was supposed to wait till tomorrow, and what I was actually supposed to do was grind something else. I could have grinded anything else, but I didn't. But that's okay. I got Mora. Like I'm happy with it. I'm not upset about it. I mean, I guess I could have got some more weapon materials, but it's not that big a deal. I probably should have grinded here, but yeah, it's not that big. Yeah. I mean, I got at least I got a heads up. You know, I'm on the up and up. I was basically broke before then. You know, now we're not broke now. But I mean, to be fair, you know, I am gonna grind it tomorrow though. Like I'm definitely doing the more grind tomorrow. I just want to see if I can get this to 10. I cannot get this to 10 yet. Okay, soon enough. Okay, let's wrap this up. I'm still gonna keep streaming, but I want to wrap this video up.
Previous Vagabond event, where in that cases Noah was actually a pretty good character because she was able to simultaneously provide offensive damage while providing massive defensive option. And imagine that, but you know, doing like twice the amount of damage. You know, that would probably be really strong for something like.
All right, now hold on, man. You're like, we don't gotta start exaggerating now. It doesn't have to be twice the amount of damage. I'm just saying, like, you know. I'm not asking for a Big Mac. I'm asking for a 5-piece chicken nugget, bro.
Vagabond event might even be the most strongest and broken option. And to be honest, because Vagabond is like a one-off event, I'm actually okay with that. But in general, for like general usages, Abyss usages, I think maybe not, you know. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe we'll see something in the future. Maybe you will have a plan for Geo characters. Maybe there is gonna be a Geo character that does so much damage that it makes him really viable. But does that affect the Geo element anyhow?
Bam. Hopefully Ito is that guy. Please be that guy. All right.
Does that suddenly make the Geo element good? Is the character viable because he is Geo, or is it just because he has a good kit and he have a big enough numbers? Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to answer this question in the near future.
Okay, well, to answer that last question, a Geo character is only good as far as their damage is concerned, not because they're Geo. It's because of their kit. It has nothing to do with the element. Geo, the way I try to explain Geo to people is Geo is the physical damage equivalent but it's physical damage that scales with elemental damage. Like that's basically Geo. You know what I mean? He saw Ito leaks. Yeah, Ito, please be that guy. Yeah. Oh yeah. For anybody in Discord, did you guys see the Excel spreadsheet I put up? Because it should have everything in there as far as that guy's concerned, and you know, if you want to kind of play around with something, it should kind of give you a rough estimate of where, if you're gonna be aiming for that. I'm trying to keep it incognito, but I'm pretty sure MiHoYo's not silly. They know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, when it comes to Geo, that's how I explain it to people. You know, like what's Geo and blah blah blah. I'm like, it's literally just the physical damage equivalent. It just scales with, it's physical damage, but it scales with elemental bonus damage. Did you finish the Flower Bloom event? I did not. I didn't yet. You? Yeah, so give me one moment, guys. I'm gonna step away for just two. It's not even like a long time. I just need to ask my family something. Give me one sec. Okay, I am back. Physical damage in a different color. Yeah, basically. Why does superconduct do nothing for Geo? I have no idea. Superconduct does nothing for us. We can trigger Shattered, but that's kind of where it ends. What did they say? They said, I sent you 4 flowers. Can you send them back? Oh, they're doing the A. I forgot about this. So check this out. Did you guys know? Yeah, then I resent them to you until we get 36. Yeah, do you guys know? That's a thing. You can do that to get all the rewards. Watch this. I forgot to show you guys that. So they sent me those, right? Whatever these are. What is that? Hibiscus. Okay, so violet and autumn, right? Watch this. If I go to Jackie and I send the hibiscus, I send 2 and send 2. You could just do this back and forth until you get 36. Did you know that? Like, you don't actually have to do the event. You can just send them back and forth until you hit 36. Bro, this game is so cheese. I was going to do that with Shadow, but I don't know if he did it. Hold on. Did you finish the event? Yeah. It's a cheese. I don't know if he's on. Yeah, you get primos like instantly. Like, you just finish the event like super fast. Let me see. Let me know when you sent them. Because you're just sending them back and forth. Yeah, I know you do both, but I think I did those. I just have to obtain 36 now. And then I guess I plant those, sure, but the 36, you can just get those now. You just pop, pop, you just send them back and forth. Wait and hope and anticipation. You just knock the 36 out now, bam, collect all those primo gems, and then, you're good. I'm assuming I got sent something. There you go. Oh, they sent me 5? Oh, okay, you get. Oh, there it goes. I was gonna say you can. Yeah, I sent them. There we go. And now we got that done. You good on your end, and that's it. Yes, it is hilarious. Doing him, and if